Good morning, everyone. I always wonder when this thing is actually starting because there's a little circle that goes around, and when it goes off the screen, the little circle that goes around is when I usually will start talking, but sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. But anyway, good morning, everyone. This first full week of 2021, I hope everybody has had a very successful, productive, and happy week. And I hope everybody is staying well and safe. Um, we're kind of looking like we're having 20 with the protests and people getting hurt and the second round of COVID seeming to come in, but we have the vaccinations coming out. So I think 2021 is going to be an excellent year. And January, statistically, in most years, is the month of divorce. And so I thought I would spend some time talking about a topic that comes up often, and that is how does my cheating, my spouse is cheating on me affect a divorce? So how does adultery affect divorce? First, people want to know, can I press charges? Can I go to jail because they're cheating on me? And in Texas, no. Adultery is not a crime in Texas, and so you have to fight it out in the civil courts. But there are some things that you can do to, go after a cheating spouse. One thing that it can affect is it can be a factor the judge can consider in child custody. Now, it doesn't mean that just because your spouse is cheating with somebody that they automatically are going to give you the children, but it is one factor that they can determine what the environment for the child would be like, and what that person is. If we have somebody that's got a criminal background or maybe a danger to the child, then that's definitely something a judge can look to in determining child custody. Mostly what I see is an impact on property division. So Texas is a no-fault state, which means you can get a divorce just because you want to get a divorce. There doesn't have to be a reason for it, but you can have a fault, and adultery is one of those faults. And you can ask for what we call a disproportionate share of the property division based on the fault in the breakup of the marriage. So you can get awarded more than your 50%, which is where courts normally start, of the property based on the fact that your spouse is cheating on you. So that's another way it can be affected. It also can be a factor that the courts consider when awarding spousal maintenance. So courts, there are certain things that they can do to award spousal maintenance, and that is one of the things that they can consider. Most often, what I hear is, what can you do for the person that broke up your marriage? Is there a way to sue them? Yes and no. So there are some causes of action that you can assert against somebody that is not your spouse in your divorce. We call those torts, and they are there's certain ones that you can actually bring against your spouse's paramour. One of those is a breach of fiduciary duty claim. So as spouses, you owe a higher duty to behave right towards the other person, which we call fiduciary duty. And when your spouse cheats, that's a breach. Well, you can sue the person that they're cheating with for a breach of that fiduciary duty, for assisting in that breach. And the most often way that can be done is if your spouse has given a lot of gifts. So everything that you get during the marriage is community property unless they get it from somebody passing away or a gift. So if they are spending money on a paramour that is your community funds, then you can file both your spouse and the other person for a breach of fiduciary duty, for basically committing fraud on the community of spending community funds on this other person. So for instance, maybe your spouse has bought a house for the other person. That would be a definite breach of that fiduciary duty, and you can ask for the value of that house to come into the property division as part of a breach of fiduciary claim. Um, Another one that actually it doesn't have to be the person that your spouse is cheating on. It could be a family member or anything else, which is interference with possessory rights for your child. So if somebody is helping your spouse hide or secret the child, they can actually be held liable for interfering with that possession. And there is a criminal aspect that goes with that one as well. One of the biggest ones that you can probably bring is an intentional infliction of emotional distress. And the biggest thing that you have to do is to show that the other woman or the other man knew about the marriage and didn't really care. They just continued on with having the affair with your spouse. That would be considered an intentional infliction of emotional distress, which could arise to some damages and a claim in court during your divorce for that action. But you have to prove that the actions of the other person were intentional or reckless, and that they had to have known that those actions would cause you severe emotional distress, which isn't usually very hard to do in marriage, to prove that you had some severe emotional distress. Sleeplessness, crying, illness, especially if you go and get any kind of therapy or have to seek any kind of medical intervention or mental intervention as a result of your spouse cheating on you and you discovering it. Now, some ways that you can start preparing to bring some of these causes of actions is you need to collect evidence. In court, the judge wants to see more than just you think this is happening. So they're going to want to see evidence. That could be bank accounts, that you have some mysterious withdrawals or purchases that you don't know where they were. You can also look towards Facebook, any kind of social media. There's all kinds of programs out there that can do people searches, and a lot of them will search for social media accounts. Look at your computer's history for your personal computer or his computer or her computer. You can also look at phone histories and just see where they're spending their time. You can also ask mutual friends to watch any social media and Facebook, Instagram, any of those things, and just see if anything's being posted. And you can do searches in all of those programs for names. Property records, credit card statements. Let's see, what else can you do? Obviously talking to friends and family members of everyone to see if anybody is talking about anything. But if you can have other witnesses or you have documentation, that's usually what the court is going to want to see. So start gathering that before you approach your spouse with any accusation. Because if you start making the accusations and they know that you found out about their infidelity, they're going to start hiding things. Another good one is to look at your Amazon order histories. A lot of people are doing purchases on Amazon. So that's another way that you can maybe find if any gifts and find the value of what those gifts were. So hopefully this is helpful. I really hope and pray that most marriages don't suffer an adultery situation, but it is a reality. The other thing I would caution is if you are in the middle of a divorce and you are separated, wait until that divorce is finalized before you start another relationship. They can bring claims of adultery if you start a relationship after you're separated. Now, whether or not the judge considers that claim of adultery in making the awards of custody, property division, or anything like that, that's questionable. Also, if you've been separated for a long time before you started the new relationship, the chances of these third-party actions being brought against the person that you're dating decreases with time. So it's just a good rule of thumb, when you separate and you know you're not going to get back together, just go ahead and file for that divorce and get it done before you start any significant other relationships. You'll also run into some issues with paternity, because when you are married to somebody, in the eyes of the law, any child that you have is, as the wife, any child you have is automatically considered the child of the husband. And so in order to get a divorce when you've had a child outside of the marriage with another person, you have to do a paternity action as well and bring in the biological father of that child, and get the whole paternity issue settled and dealt with. So I hope this has brought some clarity on some issues and some things that you can do. If you're interested in learning more, you can definitely go to our website and contact us, and we can definitely schedule you a free appointment, and I will be talking with you personally. The phone number, if you want to make an appointment, is 832-919-6595, or you can reach out to us via email at service, SERVICE, at boswelltexaslaw.com, and our website is boswelltexaslaw.com. So next week we'll be talking about some issues with common law. I've been getting that question a lot. Or if you want to ask me any questions during the week, you can direct message me on Facebook, which is another way you can ask for an appointment, or send me an email with those questions, and I will answer them live next week. And let's see if we have any questions right now. So I see we have a Kelly on. Hi, Kelly. Okay. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer. There's no money associated with that, and you don't have to hire me for anything. I just like being able to help people answer the questions that are out there. So bye for now, and I hope everybody has a great, productive, happy, healthy week, and we will see you here next week.